Hello, everyone, and thanks for following our Gridiron Glory here, where Tad and Will focus on all 32 NFL teams. Today, we have a Week 7 recap of the Philadelphia Eagles' road division victory over the New York Giants by a final mark of 28-3. This was really a case of one team just coming out fully dominating the other team, a team that they're significantly better than, and the Eagles did that in full display here against the New York Giants. A huge game for Saquon Barkley in his return to um New York. He has 17 carries, 176 yards, and a touchdown. So a big game for the former Giant star running back in his return there. And he's really done a great job of unlocking the Eagles offense and doing what he can to keep this team afloat and to get them up to a 4-2 record. So I'd like to ask where you'd rank Saquon Barkley among running backs in the National Football League.
A top five running back. I mean, time and time again, no matter what offense he's on, no matter what team he's on, he, goes out there and he gets the job done. And one thing that I really respect, I saw a clip had where, the coach comes up to him on the sideline and says, "Hey, you're 13 yards away from your career high." And he's like, now I want to put you in the game. Like I want to see you get your career high. And he's like, if you want to do it, I want to do it. And Saquon literally responded, he's just like, he's drinking water on the bench. He's saying like, no, I'm good. Let the young boys eat, So just a very humble attitude that you can certainly respect about a guy when you speak up to the likes of Saquon Barkley, not only of just like who he is as a running back, but who he is as a person as well. A very humble attitude, a leader, definitely a leader in that locker room too, and certainly a very respectable. Yes, Jalen Hurts is also a leader, but so is Saquon. So no matter what team he would be on, so and then obviously talked about the young guys eating. Kenneth Gainwell, he went out there and got 56 yards with a 14-yard run as well. Also to the likes of guys like Will Shipley. So the young guys definitely ate. And then, talking about, like the receivers, like you got guys like A.J. Brown, who went out there and got a pretty big touchdown and scored and had 89 yards. And Tad, where would you rank A.J. Brown amongst wide receivers in the NFL?
Yeah, certainly since his return to the lineup, the Eagles offense has been completely revitalized. It's hard to say that he's not, I don't know, a top 10 for sure. For sure a top 10, potentially borderline top 5. I'd be a little more comfortable saying top 10, but he's definitely just goes out there. He's very consistent these days. And great to see him back after the injury. He's a guy that Philadelphia needs. They need him to revitalize the passing game.
Yeah, Tad, and you definitely like to see what he was able to go out there and do. Um, even just with 5 catches, so a very efficient receiver, if nothing else. And then also shout out to the Eagles defense, who did an incredibly well job of shutting their opposition down. You got to the likes of Jalen Carter, 3 solo tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Nakobe Dean, 2 sacks and also 2 tackles for loss. Darius Slay Jr., 4 tackles, a tackle for a loss, and a pressure drop back. And then also you had your boy Cooper DeJean. And what's your take on Cooper DeJean so far this season?
Yeah, they've gotten him more involved the last 2 weeks, and they've had 2 big wins. That's just a young player that's taking leadership in a secondary that's had some issues throughout the past several years, and now you have Cooper DeJean, you have Quinion Mitchell as well. So a lot of youth there in the secondary, and also you mentioned the veteran Darius Slay as well, so some good leadership there. But this is a defense that's realized they had some issues at the end of the year last year, and they've corrected them. So they showed out against the New York Giants. Now we know what the New York Giants are. They're not a very good football team.
Yeah, we
they're
haven't even talked about them at all.
They're a football team that's rebuilding. This offense is they struggle. Daniel Jones wasn't good. He was 14 of 21 for 99 yards. You don't want to have your starting quarterback under 100 yards. That's
7 sacks allowed. 7 sacks. So
yeah.
the Jets, both the Jets and the Giants had bad offensive lines. I mean, let's not forget the Giants had also a terrible offensive line last year. They did not really do anything to fix it.
Right. Yeah. They didn't rebuild the offensive line. They're just the offense is in a major struggle bus. They passed for under 100 yards. They rushed for under 100 yards. This was a very poor offensive performance, to say the least, for the New York Giants.
Yeah. Just, I mean, this doesn't even boil down to. I mean, you got a second year GM who's still learning a lot. And he's been having to deal with, a very tough going, young in his tenure there in New York. And then, obviously the coaching, the front office, the ownership even, obviously this isn't as poorly ran of a franchise as Carolina, but they still got a lot of work to do as just the franchise as a whole. You don't want to purposely tank or anything like that, but at the same time, you kind of need to start banking on the draft a little bit going down. I still think the Giants need quite a few more years of draft picks and a few more rounds of free agency to even get competitive again.
Yeah, when I look at the Giants, their roster, the moves they've made, throughout our preseason research, I've asked many times, what plan does this football team have? I don't see a cognizant plan when I look at the Giants, and I'm really sorry to say this, Giant fans. And if you think there's a better plan in place, feel free to mention that in the comments. But when I see the Giants, I don't see a cognizant plan in place, and I feel like they're just in a situation where they don't have a lot of good situations. They don't know what they're going to do with Daniel Jones. They don't know what they're going to do with the offensive line. The defense is middle of the pack. I don't know what they're planning on doing. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. You see, they have no cognitive plan. They seem to botch, draft days left and right. They need to quit botching draft.
Yeah.
They honestly, really, it's okay. You can't sit here and be 0-4 at home, only winning 2 games this year, 2-5 in this situation. You can't sit here and be this kind of an NFL football team in the regular season. The win you need to be focusing on is drafting. That needs to be the focus for the Giants and free agency periods.
Absolutely.
And when you botch draft days and you botch free agency periods, Tad, it heavily translates into the regular season, and that's what's been happening.
Yeah. Just a display of very poor roster building, but that's where we're at with the Giants. 2 teams in a very different place in their franchises. The Eagles, a contender. The Giants, who knows what they're doing. But yeah, looking at the New York Giants, they play at Pittsburgh Monday night this week, and looking at the Eagles, a big game in Cincinnati against the Bengals, so should be interesting next week. Did you have any final takes? All right, then
I would just say, you have that potential to go get that upset at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
potentially, but I'm not heavily banking
It's
on
the
that.
NFL, yeah.
And then as far as who'd you say the Eagles play again next week? They
They
play.
are in Cincinnati against the Bengals.
Yeah, that's going to be tough because Joe Burrow's. I mean, he's hungry. I mean,
Yeah.
so you're going to have to go into that. I mean, you're still going to, even if you are the Eagles, like, yeah, you got this 28-3 win, but you're going to have to go in there next week and give it your all against a Joe Burrow led team that is not looking to give up. I mean, trust and believe, Tad. Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they are going to do everything they can to beat those Eagles. So, yeah, I don't really have any other final thoughts or takes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all for watching, following along. Please like, subscribe, follow, as Will and I continue to display quality takes throughout the NFL season. Thanks for